If you apply visitor visa for your parents, they can only stay for 6 months. But if you really want your parents to stay much longer, then you must know about Canada Super Visa. And in this video, I'm going to talk about what is Super Visa in Canada, what are the eligibility requirements for both host and applicant, and what is the application process, and what are the important documents you need to submit. So stay till the end so that you do not miss anything. So if you really like this video, you can simply like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow more updates. Thank you so much. Let's get started. So now I'm going to tell about what is Canada Super Visa. So Canada Super Visa is a multiple entry visitor visa that allows parents and grandparents of Canadian citizens or permanent residents to stay in Canada for up to 5 years at a time without renewing their status. So if you talk about visitor visa, they can only stay 6 months or less at a time, right? But Super Visa allows your parents to stay for 5 years at a time. This is the advantage of Super Visa. Okay. And now I'm going to tell you what are the requirements. Okay. So first, let's go to who can apply. Okay. So on this thing, the requirements, I'm going to divide requirements in two parts. The first one is host requirement. So who is host? So let's take an example. If you want to apply your parents' super visa, then you are the host, right? So if you are host, then you need to be eligible for super visa. So what are the requirements? The first requirement is you have to prove, right, your relationship with your parents or grandparents. And second requirement is you need to be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident of Canada. So if you are in work permit or study permit, you cannot apply for super visa. And one more requirement is you need to be at least 18 years old. You have to be 18 years or more than 18 years, okay, older than that. And the most important requirement is you must meet or exceeds the minimum necessary income. Okay. And I'm going to click on this minimum necessary income and show you what are the different income requirements. Okay. So if you have family member of one, then you must show like you have $30,000 a yearly income, right? So right now IRCC has just changed. Before you have to show like previous year income, but now you can show from last 2 years. Okay, so if you have like two number of family members is two, then you have to show $38,000 as a minimum income, right? And if you are family members of three, then you have to show $46,000. If it's four, then 56, five, then 64. So it's going on. Okay. So let's take an example. You have a wife and you want to bring your mother, right? That means altogether number of family becomes three. So now you have to show $46,000 and 720 as your income requirement. But if you want to bring your mother and father both, then your family number of family members already reached four. So it's 50. So now you have to show like $56,000 as your yearly income. So this is the income requirement. So let's go back. And now the last requirement, man, is you need to write and sign a letter of invitation. So if you really want what is letter of invitation, how it is written, I have a sample. I can also send it to you. So another requirement is applicant requirement. That is what is the requirement for your parents. Okay. So to be eligible, your parent must be outside Canada when you submit your application, right? And you must be allowed to enter in Canada. Obviously, we will be. And the most important part for your parent is they need to have a private health insurance. It is also called super visa insurance. Okay. And that must be valid for a minimum of 1 year from the date of entry. So this is the most important requirement. And another requirement is they must do a medical exam, right? And that's it. So now I'm going to show you an exact process how you can apply your parents super visa, what is the process of applying, and from there I'll show you what are the different documents requirement also. So now I'm gonna show you what is the application process for your parents and grandparents supervision. So first of all, you need to log into the IRCC secure account, right? And after that, you go to start an application and apply to come to Canada. So when you click here, you go down and under the determine your eligibility and pay online section, you select visitor visa, study or work permit. And when you click here, you will see different eligibility question, right? So here, the first question is, what would you like to do in Canada? So you select visit, and how long are you planning to stay in Canada? Temporarily, more than 6 months. So select the code that matches the one on your passport. So you select your parents' nationality, that is, so for my case, it's Nepal. So what is your current country or residency or territory? So you select Nepal here because my parents live in Nepal, right? And do you have a family member who is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident and is 18 years or older? So here, in this case, you have to select yes. So in my case, it was yes. So you can write according to your situation. So here, so another question is what is date of birth? So you select your parents' date of birth. I'll just put one random date of birth for now. Okay. So I'm just selecting one random date of birth for now. And when you press next, um, you will see, have you lived in Canada as a permanent resident or landed immigrant? You select no or yes. If you lived before as a permanent resident, you select yes, or if not, then you select no. So are you a lawful permanent resident? If you are, then you select yes. If you are not, then you select no. So you select, in my case, it was no. So how are you related to your family members? So this is the tricky question. Here you have to select child or grandchild, right? You are applying for your parents. So you select next. So now, so it will ask you, what is your marital status? So what's your parents' marital status? So according to your situation, you select that one. And what is your province or territory or destination? So wherever you are living right now, right? So I'm living in Ontario. That's why I select yes. Sorry, Ontario. So now the thing is, it will show you the eligibility results, right? You may see that you are eligible for three different categories. However, we are not applying for a regular visitor visa for a stay of more than 6 months or uh, any other family class application. We are specifically applying for the parent and grandparent super visa. That's why, so you have to select parent and grandparent super visa and click continue over here. So now you go again, you select continue. Now it will ask you which documents you are using to prove that your child or grandchild meets the minimum necessary income requirement. So you can select most recent copy of notice of assessment, most recent copy of T4 or T1. That's what I selected. And you press next. And it asks you, have you ever been arrested for or been charged with a criminal offense? You need to answer this question truthfully based on your second circumstances. So if yes, it select yes. If no, then you select no and then press next. After that, it would ask you, have you had a medical exam performed by an IRCC authorized within last 12 months? So according to your situation. So again, if you have done, then you select yes. If you not, then you select no. So in my case, it was no. That's why I'm selecting no. So now when you press next, so here, if you are applying for both of your father and mother together, you can select yes and include the family member in the application process. But if you are applying for only one parent for now, then you can select no. So for this demonstration, I'll just select no because it will be easy, right? So I select no and press next. So now here another question. Are you giving someone access to your application? So since we are doing it by ourselves, you select no and do it next. So another question is, Have you given your fingerprints and biometrics within the past 10 years? So according to your situation, you select yes or no. So you select next, and there are fees associated with this application. Will you be paying? And yes, I'll be paying my fees application. Then are you able to make a digital copy of your documents with a scanner or camera? Obviously, yes, I can do it. And will you be paying your fees online? So it will ask you whether from MasterCard, American Express, and you select yes and you continue. You press next. And will you be paying? Yes, and you select next. So once you completed the questionnaire, click continue. At this point, IRCC will generate. So this will show you your whatever questionnaire you fill, you selected, right? And you press continue here. And so So at this point, IRCC will generate your personalized document checklist. This is very important because the exact documents can vary depending on the information you provided in the questionnaire. So let's go through some of the important documents you may need. The first document is IMM 5257 application for visitor visa. This is a form that you may already be familiar with if you have previously applied for a study permit or work permit. The form is similar in some sections. So if you haven't watched my previous video explaining how to complete this form, you can watch that video as well. The second important document is the passport. You will need to upload the passport pages requested in your personalized checklist. And after you have a passport copy, you can do upload file and upload it here, right? And you will also need documents showing that uh, your child or grandchild in Canada meets required minimum necessary income, such as T4, right? So you can also have your T4 paper and upload it here. And another important document is invitation letter. So you need to write an invitation letter explaining that you are inviting your parents to Canada and providing the relevant details about their visit. Make sure the invitation letter is properly signed. If you and your spouse are both using your income to meet the financial requirement, make sure both of you are properly included in the invitation and supporting documentation with the required signatures. So another important requirement is super visa medical insurance. Your parents need to have medical insurance that meets the requirements for the super visa. So it should be for minimum 1 year. If you need help understanding how to obtain appropriate super visa insurance, you can also contact me. You will also need a digital photo that meets IRCC photo requirements. So another important document is the notice of assessment. If you have filed your taxes and received your notice of assessment, you should provide the applicable document as part of your financial support evidence. So another document is purpose of travel letter. This is generally written by your parents and explain why they want to visit Canada, what they plan to do during their stay, and other relevant information about their visit. So you should also provide proof of relationship between you and your parents, depending on your circumstances. This could include appropriate government issued documents or other official documents demonstrating the relationship. So you may also need to provide family information, employment information, and other supporting documents requested in your personalized checklist. And you also have to fill this form 5257 application for a temporary resident visa made outside Canada. So you also need to fill this form, and whatever documents you haven't included in here, you can simply include that on client information section. So once you have uploaded all the required documents, reviewed your application carefully, and completed all the required sections, the continue option will become available here. So you can then continue with the submission process, pay the applicable IRCC fees, and submit your application. And that's it. Your parent and grandparent super visa application has been submitted and will then be processed by IRCC. Remember, submitting the application doesn't guarantee approval. IRCC will review the application and make the final decision. This is it. So we are at the end of the video. If you really like this video, then please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And thank you so much. See you in the next video.